Looks like we've got a good turnout this morning. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us. We really appreciate it. My name is Griff Ralston. I'm a CEO here at Ralston Instruments, and I've been at Ralston Instruments for 24 years now. I've been CEO since 2013. Today looks like we've got people from all over the world, the US, Canada, Mexico, several from Europe, and we even got a few people staying up late in Asia, and one in Australia. So we appreciate you all joining us. We're going to keep everyone on mute as there's quite a few people on the line. And please take some time down in the bottom of the toolbar to enter any questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom toolbar. And we'll make sure to answer all of those at the end. Today I am joined by Gene Kobus. Gene's been at Ralston Instruments for 13 years in various positions, and he has deep subject matter expertise in temperature and pressure instruments and their applications. And today he will share some of that knowledge with you. So a little bit of background on Ralston Instruments. We've been around since 1969. It was started by Doug Ralston, my dad. He saw a need for innovation in calibration in the calibration industry, and we have continued with that innovation till today. We have a long history of product innovation, includes development of the first hand pump, the quick test system of hoses and adapters, and some innovative digital pressure calibration products, as well as the most comprehensive line of nitrogen control products in the world. We pride ourselves on making professional grade products here in the United States. And with that, I will turn it over to Gene, and he will take it from here.
Thanks, Griff. Thanks all of you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. Let's get right into today's agenda. We're going to go over the following: importance of calibrating transmitters, traditional methods of calibration. We'll discuss some of the common challenges, look at better solutions to controlling pressure during calibration with nitrogen. We'll learn about the Ralston ControlPak. You get to see the ControlPak in action. We'll talk about where to buy and how to buy. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A question period. Like Griff had said, I'll double down on that. If you have questions during the presentation, please put them in the Q&A and we'll address all those at the end. So based on the title of the webinar, we're going to assume that everyone here is pretty familiar with pressure transmitters and the role they play in various industrial and commercial applications. As you know, transmitters play an important role in the oil and gas industry, chemical processing, wastewater, and similar industries. They measure pressure, temperature, flow rate, and keep control systems working in optimal operating conditions and help prevent shutdowns and accidents. As with all pressure instruments, they have to be calibrated regularly to make sure they're providing accurate and reliable measurements and staying in compliance with the industry standards. Some of the traditional methods, pneumatic pumps, are used for calibrating and testing. It can take time to reach your pressure, a little bit of effort, especially when you get to the higher pressure. And a lot of these devices are only good up to 600 PSI. Hydraulic pumps are the go-to tool for calibrating transmitters. They're capable of higher pressure ranges. They're generally small and easy to carry and very rugged. Many include a fine adjust knob to let you fine-tune the pressure. Calibrating transmitters out in the field with a hydraulic hand pump definitely has its drawbacks. Some of those drawbacks, pressure instability, stable pressure generation is key to accuracy and consistency in pressure testing when you're using a hand pump. There are lots of things that can affect stability though. Some of you may have heard of adiabatic effect. This is where you generate a lot of pressure in a short amount of time, such as you're using a hydraulic pump. And as you're pumping that, you're creating a lot of heat. So the heat, as you create the heat, pressure goes up. The problem is when it cools, it tricks people into thinking it's leaking because you'll see the pressure dropping. That's probably one of the calls we'll get a lot on a hydraulic pump. So it's one of the downfalls of it. Hysteresis effect. In the context of pressure transmitters, hysteresis refers to the difference in the output readings between increasing pressure cycles and decreasing pressure cycles, even when the pressure input returns to the same value. Leaks. Even the smallest volume, even the smallest leak in volume and change in a hydraulic can lead to noticeable drops in pressure. Whether it's poorly thread taped connection, a damaged seal, a loose connection, or another issue, leaks decrease the volume of fluid within the system. As a consequence, the pressure from the hydraulic fluid diminishes proportionally. A single drop of fluid leak can cause a pressure to drop 500 psi or more. And of course, human error, inconsistent pumping speed, improper handling of controls, and incorrect reading of pressure gauges, poorly trained to correctly understand the adiabatic effect. So if they don't wait for the system to come to equilibrium, not effectively priming the pump. So there's a lot of trapped air in the system, which would cause you to have instability. And then environmental conditions. Sometimes weather conditions like high heat or humidity, freezing rain, etc., can affect the density and the flow characteristics of the hydraulic fluid or oil, leading to inconsistent flow rates and fluctuation in pressure outputs. For example, in very cold weather, hydraulic fluid can become more viscous, thick like tar or molasses, and make it more difficult for calibration. Another big drawback is they are susceptible they are to contamination. Mud, rust, debris, dirt, and sand. All these things cause blockages and restrictions, which can affect the orifice plates, turbine meters, and seals over time, causing errors in measurement. All this contamination can get back into the hydraulic pump, which needs to be cleaned before and after calibrating to prevent damage. Many users don't like pumps because they describe them as messy. It's dealing with oil and potentially leaking. They put it in their truck and they don't use it very often. Their toolbox gets full of oil, the truck gets full of oil. Sometimes this isn't the best course of testing for them. All these things take up time: cleaning and maintenance, priming the pump, and trying to account for the potential causes of pressure instability, such as pumping too slowly, adiabatic effect, waiting a few minutes for a stable reading. Things like the adiabatic effect, thinking there's a leak when there's not, might be wasting time looking for leaks when there aren't any. This might also cause rework and the results to be inaccurate due to human error, weather, or leaks, etc. All these small issues can add up to a lot of downtime costing money. A better way to calibrate transmitters from pressure instability to contamination, maintenance downtime, nitrogen pressure control eliminates the hassle of calibrating with hydraulics, hand pumps, and cleaner, more efficient, and more accurate calibrations. So here's a great way to compare calibrating with hydraulic fluid to calibrating with compressed nitrogen. Hydraulic pressure is like pouring sand loosely on a flat scale when used as a source of pressure. The sand will provide initially some, but runs off the edges, causing the pressure to drop, and more sand is needed. So you have to consistently add more or remove sand to keep it steady. But a manual nitrogen pressure controller simply dials in the pressure you need with extreme precision. It's like adding a precise amount of sand in a container with no grains falling off or needed to be adjusted later. So the Ralston ControlPak pressure controller mounted in a tough tactical case. You can easily carry it to a job site, connect it to a regulated nitrogen tank, and generate consistent, stable, full-scale pressure in seconds. All connections are Ralston quick test setup, so easy setup and breakdown is a breeze. The equalize isolate valves lets the user equalize large volume, fine adjust pistons so they can have very precise control with pressure if it's 0.003 psi or 3000 psi. The fill and vent valves are both metering style valves, which means the user has excellent control when increasing or decreasing test points. The ControlPak also has a convenient compartment to hold a nylon bag for your hoses and adapters. Some of the benefits of the ControlPak: it's more stable. ControlPak supplies smoother, more stable pressure with far less room for human error, inconsistencies compared to hand pumps. It's very easy to reach pressures from 0 to full scale, and includes all the infrastructure to do safely. So it's also more precise with amazing precision of the large pressure balance piston on how you can dial to the exact pressure within 0.0005 psi. Far more precise than any hand pump. No mess. No fluids means you'll never have to worry about spills, leaks, or contamination or any other hassles of dealing with oil. And of course, more efficient. Since there's no pumping, priming, no pressure adjustment and stabilization or incremental adjustments throughout your pressure test, compensating for cooling, you can seriously just connect it to a compressed gas tank and start calibrating, which is going to save a lot of time. So let's look at that time. Let's look how the ControlPak can save money. Based on the conversations we've had with users, we've estimated the ControlPak can save around 5 minutes per test. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot at first, but if it really adds up if you do the math, 5 minutes per test, maybe 20 tests per day, $30 an hour, that's $250 saved per test. $50 saved per day, $250 a week, $1,000 a month. That's what people like to see: cost savings and time savings. Payback generally is within 4 months with daily use, but even with infrequent use, the ControlPak pays for itself in under a year. So, if you guys are looking to get one of these, sell it to your boss. It's going to save them time. It's going to save them money. It's all, if I need something from Griff, I have to always, convince them it's going to save us time and money.
Right.
All right. So now we're going to, Griff's going to actually conduct a demo here. So we tricked ourselves and we did the demo ahead of time. But so you'll see him in the picture and his multi-talented demo here. So here's the ControlPak in action.
Okay, so we're going to do a quick demonstration of the Ralston ControlPak. So first we have the device under test. In this case, it is a transmitter, pressure transmitter. We have the ControlPak itself in this black box, and we have the pressure reference. In this case, it's a Ralston Field Lab. Over here, we have a nitrogen cylinder, and we have a pressure regulator, in this case, is a Ralston X-Reg regulator kit. Okay, so the first thing we want to do before we get started is we want to close the vent valve here. We want to open the equalize valve here, and then we want to close the fill valve. Next, we're going to bring our regulated pressure into the system. So we're going to open this valve, and our regulated pressure is going to come up, and then we're going to increase the regulated pressure until it's approximately at our first test point. When that's done, we're going to bring in some pressure using this fill valve. You can see here as I open this valve, we're going to bring it up to our first test point, which is 50 psi. So this is a nice metering valve. We can bring up pressure nice and slowly. After we're close, we're going to close that fill valve again. We're going to close the equalize isolate valve. When we do that, now the fine adjust piston can have nice fine adjustment of the pressure, whether it's at 2 inches of water column or 3,000 psi. You have very, very fine grain control. So you can see here, bringing up the pressure until we're at exactly 50 psi. Okay, so that was our first test point. It was that quick. Now the next thing we want to do when we go to the next test point is we're going to open the equalize isolate valve, increase the pressure on the regulator, open this fill valve and bring that pressure back up, and then repeat that. So when we are completed in the test, we've done all the upscale pressure points, and we want to do downscale pressure points. You can simply reverse the process, but then you're using the vent valve, and you would vent the pressure down between test points. And then when you're finished, you would simply open the equalize, vent the pressure off, the pressure will go back to 0. When all this is finished, you can disconnect your hoses, put them back in the bag, disconnect your pressure reference, and when you're done, you're all ready to go.
Good job, Griff. Great demo. As you guys see, it's all set up. I'm going to double down on the quick test hoses, the connections. We got a 45 on the gauge there and another QD. So, and then on the regulator, we had the X-Reg, which has a quick connect to the nitrogen bottle. So All the Ralston stuff's there, allows for easy connection, easy hookup, and quick, precise testing with nitrogen just by controlling the volume. All right, so in summary, while the traditional methods of calibrating transmitters are effective, there are a lot of variables that can lead to unstable pressure, which affects test accuracy. Plus, you have to deal with priming, pumping, and all the steps involved keeping a pump maintained and contaminants out. There's a lot of advantages of using nitrogen pressure control instead. The ControlPak makes it very easy. The Ralston ControlPak is a lot more efficient, eliminating a lot of the hassles with dealing with oil. The ControlPak generates clean, stable pressure from 0 to full scale. It's cleaner, easier to use, a lot more efficient, and the efficiency saves a lot of time and money in the long run. So what's the next steps? You can learn more on our website, at ralstoninst.com. There's downloadable brochures, data sheets, as well as extensive product information on the website. You can select the model or models you're interested in seeing what's included, accessories, and options. If you still have questions, you can select Contact Us, the Contact Us button, and we'll have an inside salesperson get in touch with you. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel also. There's a lot of great videos on the ControlPak, along with 70 other videos on all the Ralston product lines. These videos you might find very helpful. So how and where do you buy the ControlPak? When you've decided on the model or models, just click the Get a Quote button anywhere on the ralstoninst.com and pull up from your form for you to fill out and specify which models you are interested in. And we'll process that right away and get it to your local distributor for quote. So in review today, we've reviewed the importance of calibrating transmitters. We've discussed the traditional methods of hydraulic pressure calibration. We've investigated some common challenges with those traditional methods. We've learned how nitrogen pressure control is a better solution, discovered some of the key features and benefits of the ControlPak, and we saw a great product demonstration by Griffin. Good job, Griff.
Thank you.
And we learned where and how to buy. So with that, we got a lot of questions coming in. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Griff for our Q&A session.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much, Gene. Great job on that. Looks like I covered quite a bit of information. It's an exciting product. It's got a lot of applications in oil and gas, and looks like quite a lot of interest with questions here. So question, does the ControlPak come with a regulator? No, it does not. So if you want the product that comes with a regulator, the NitroPak includes a regulator as well as a compressed gas cylinder. This setup, the ControlPak, is really designed more for field use where a truck would typically have a large nitrogen cylinder already on board. But the X-Reg kit does make a good kit. It was shown in the video, but it makes a nice kit to connect to the regulator for the supply pressure. How does the ControlPak compare to the NitroPak? Oh, okay. I answered a little bit of that before. A ControlPak is quite a bit smaller and lighter and simpler and less expensive. But it relies on the user to have a large nitrogen cylinder, either in their truck or in their facility. There's a lot of people who use these. They'll put a larger cylinder on a cart, and then they'll use the ControlPak mounted or on the top of the cart. They'll roll it around if they're in a plant that has relatively flat floors. But this also works in the field. You can use a 50 or 100-foot hose, and you can run it out to a transmitter that's near a truck. How does the ControlPak compare to the Ralston hydraulic pumps? Well, all of our hydraulic pumps, the QTHP hydraulic pump and the XTHP hydraulic pump, the QTHP goes to 5,000 PSI and the XTHP goes to 10,000 PSI. So for ranges above 3,000 PSI, the hydraulic pressure is really still the only option. But as we discussed, there's some issues with that. There's some ways around those but there's definitely some when you can use a ControlPak or compressed gas nitrogen, it works a lot much easier. What's the difference between the calibration manifold and the ControlPak? That's a good question. So it's precision and control. So the ControlPak works at both low pressure and high pressure because it has a pressure balanced piston. So that fine adjustment, when you open that equalize and isolate valve, it essentially allows the pressure to flow to both the top and the bottom. So the top of the piston is pressurized as well as the bottom. And then when you close that isolate valve, now when you make when you turn the knob on the piston, you'll actually make a change in pressure. So essentially, when you reach your coarse test point with the equalize open, it doesn't really matter whether that's 1 psi or 1,000 psi, because both the top and the bottom of the piston see the same pressure. But as soon as you close that equalize valve, then you're actually affecting or making a change in pressure. Now you can change that pressure. So you have a sort of a infinite, like a very high amount of precision, irrespective of the pressure. Can I get the ControlPak with a gauge? Yes, on the website. If you go to the ralstonins.com website, we have a kit builder, so you can select what kind of, whether you want an LC20 gauge, so that's a 0.1% of accuracy, or a field lab, and then that comes with all the connections for the gauge as well as the hose and adapters. So these make nice calibration kits. Is there a way to print all models? Yeah. So if you go to the ralstonins.com website, and you browse to ControlPaks or manual pressure controllers, you go to the model is QTVC -EN, and then when you get to the models page, click at the bottom, it'll say show all models. It'll list all the models. So it does a nice job showing everything.
So, Griff, can I add one thing here?
Yeah.
I know one thing that confuses a lot of people out there is our models are kits based on the accessories that come with the QTVCEN. The ControlPak itself is the same in every kit. It just breaks it down on what options you need with the kit. So there's not different pressure ranges or that. There's one QTVCEN, and then the kits, it could be with the gauge, with hoses, with adapters, with the fittings, all different types of accessories. And then when you're on the website, if you click there's a plus next to included items, it'll do a drop down and show you everything included in that kit. So there's no confusion between, if you're an end user out there watching this today, there's no confusion on what you'll be receiving. If you're a distributor, there's no confusing on what you're ordering for your customer. Sorry, Griff.
No, that's great. No, I appreciate that. That's good. Any other questions? Yeah, well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I know you're all busy, so thanks very much. At the end of this, please take a minute to take the survey. Your responses help us to create content that is more appropriate to what you want to learn about. It'll only take a couple minutes. We'll also send a copy of this webinar out in a few days via email, and it'll also be posted on our YouTube channel. So if there's someone else you want to send this to, that's easy. Well, that's it. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to some of your recommendations for new webinars. And thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Thanks again.